I'm sure that the farmers are very grateful to the Honorable Eugene Hamilton for that initiative, and it's quite a significant cost reduction. So tell me, are there any other benefits of becoming a card holder?
I think there are tremendous benefits in one becoming registered as a farmer, you know. Going forward, as I said, we want to be able to define the industry. We are not disallowing anyone from you know, doing the little thing. Everyone does a little thing. You know, we have the homeowner who has his backyard garden, his container garden, and what have you. But we're trying also to help to move into sort of more like a commercial, semi-commercial into commercial aspect. And so we're trying to define, you know, what we think a farmer profile should look like. And therefore, once you have that card, then you're considered as a bona fide farmer. And that entitles you to the benefits and privileges that the government have assigned to the agricultural sector. For example, something which is of a lot of interest to farmers is a waiver of duties, import duties, that is, on implements. If you're really going to be a modern farmer, a lot of times, well, a lot of us, we import or we purchase vehicles and equipment for the business. You may want to purchase a pickup. A pickup usually very handy. There are also other equipment, the whole range of equipment, as the person's dreams would see it. Tractors, processors, you know, different equipment. And a lot of times these things have to come in from overseas, and at the port they attract custom duties and different, you know, taxes like that. And one of the things that which in trying to stimulate agriculture is that we always seek a waiver, drip material, mulch material, and what have you. So they would be able to access those without any difficulty. There's another thing which is very current and very useful, that is price support. Subsidized prices perhaps might be a better way to put it, in that a lot of inputs, again, many of these inputs are sourced from overseas. Fertilizer, chemicals for, let's say, in the veterinary industry, sometimes medication. You also have things like feed for a different range of livestock, other inputs, right? Which wires, what have you, fencing poles, and so on. And these things, some of them are sold by the department, and what we do, we offer them at sort of like, you know, baseline price, break-even price, and even sometimes concessionary prices. So we can't just support just any and everybody. And so the thing is targeted at the farmer. So going forward, we are going to have like a structured price list. We will have more or less like two different prices. Persons who are farmers, they'll be able to access the reduced price, the concessionary price, and persons who are outside of the industry, you'll be asked to pay like the break-even cost. Of course, you know, government is not into the business of making large profits. As much as in any business, one ought to be able to generate surpluses, but in the context of government, you want to be able to keep the business going. So persons who are not registered as farmers will have to pay, you know, that cost, whereas the farmers now will be able to get the more reduced price. And it goes on and on again. If you're selecting persons to attend a workshop, especially workshops overseas, then, you know, you would want to target those persons who you have in your register, those persons who you have in your database, as persons who have an interest in really advancing the agricultural sectors. The list goes on and on, Ms. MacPhail. For example, government sometimes may have to make a decision about their distribution of materials. Greenhouses, for example, is something that comes to mind, because not too long ago, government, through the Agriculture Resource Management had in fact acquired quite a number of greenhouses which were distributed to farmers, and so you would want to first target persons who you have as bona fide farmers. Projects, if there is a project going on, then it goes first, and even things like compensation. Sometimes there is a fire on your farm, be it malicious or otherwise, during the hurricane season. Sometimes there are damages. One of the things that is a big issue, and I wouldn't be surprised if someone raises it, especially compensation, is damages from wild animal, from things like wild pigs, monkeys. I mean, that's a very big thing, right? So it gives you a better idea of your target audience and how best you can support them, and therefore I think there's a whole host of benefits in being registered as a farmer.
So it's important to point out that the government is actually subsidizing farmers and encouraging agriculture. Now, with every change comes a sense of fear. We know that's human nature. So we know some farmers may say, oh, I'm not going to be registered, because they may use the information for whatever reason. What would you say to a farmer who is skeptical about the process?
That is a concern for all of us in different settings, whenever data is being collected. And it is a legitimate concern, because there are instances where folks have used data for purposes other than what it was explicitly said for.
Correct.
Yes, it does happen, although people call for it as well. Sometimes people would say, for example, maybe law enforcement should be privileged to certain data.
I've heard that.
Yes. Maybe immigration should be able to piggyback on data collected by someone else. Maybe health should be able to use data that was collected, maybe even by the marketing user. And that is understandable, because you don't want to duplicate information and so on. But then people's privacy and confidentiality is also important. And in our modern societies, data people should know beforehand how the data can be shared and what is not allowed. This information is entirely for internal purposes. And I don't think we collected sensitive information, the very basic about the person, so that you can identify the person. And then very basic information too about what they are involved in agriculture, so that you can classify, so that you can analyze, so that you can make decisions. So we stayed away from too much of the additional data, so that right away they can see that there's not much more that can happen with these other than for agricultural purposes. I also want to give an undertaking that as the director, that this is agricultural information for the Ministry of Agriculture. I think other sources, they have many other ways of collecting even more comprehensive data, and so I think if one were to want sensitive and confidential information, there are other places that they can go. And nowadays so much data is being collected that bit by bit from different sources you can get what you want. So I can't fault people for being concerned. It's a normal thing, it's a legitimate thing, but I want to also allay their fears that it's not going to be misused. There's not going to be any surprises thrown at you. There's not going to be anything that you would regret. It's for your purposes, it's for the good of the country, it's for the advancement of the sector, and it's for the benefit of us all.
It's important to underscore that it's for the benefit of the farmers.